on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Jessica drinks and drives. How am I going to tell her that she can't pick up her children?
How about this? You're not picking up the kids, you're drunk.
What her children have witnessed.
When did you give her these black eyes?
He started wailing on me.
No child should have to see.
You guys are fighting in front of the kids.
Why don't you just shut up? We are trying our best to change.
If that's the best you can do, it's game over. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. My show has changed a lot from 2009 to now. We've had some different office space, some different processes. Even I've changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is the amount of emails we receive. I'm talking bunches. One of my guests today actually wrote me back in 2009. What hasn't changed for her in the past decade is what she wrote to me about in the first place, and that's her daughter. Cindy said her daughter Jessica was making all the wrong decisions in life. Abusive boyfriends, drug and alcohol abuse, 2 children with 2 different fathers. She was desperate for help, and she still is a decade later. Take a look.
Jessica's not capable of taking care of her children. For many years, Jessica was a drug addict. She got herself clean of that, and she is an alcoholic. Jessica was stashing numerous vodka bottles under this sink. I think I brought out 8 or 9 bottles. Jessica has picked up the kids from school, and she was drunk. It's gonna hurt somebody and her children. I believe that Jessica's bipolar. She's yelling.
Stop and just listen. Learn your ways.
She's screaming.
Don't you ever tell my daughter to shut up.
She gets louder and mean.
Well, I have news for you. I don't even know if your dad's your real dad. How about that one?
She calls me a fat bitch. You're stupid. She's just vicious. We have heated arguments in front of the kids.
You obviously didn't.
Stop!
No, I'm talking.
I'm tired of
Well,
it.
then go upstairs.
I've had to call the police on Jessica at least 8 times. Jessica chooses men over her children. She likes the bad boys. Jessica's current boyfriend, Dean, has a history of being abusive towards my daughter. I've seen the black eyes. Jessica's claiming that I'm alienating her kids from her.
The family dynamic is here, and I'm not a part of that.
That's baloney. Her kids have eyes. They see it. I'm not going to let them go to foster care. I want them to have a decent life.
You know, 10 years after Cindy wrote into the show, I received an email from her daughter, Jessica, complaining about, you guessed it, Mom. Jessica is convinced her mother has brainwashed her children and turned them against her, and she says she only drinks for medicinal purposes.
My kids are being raised by my enemy. I do believe that my mom is alienating my children from me.
I don't always think about notifying you.
I feel left out. It is insulting. It gets my blood pumping.
Most people would say that I'm being an ingrate, but most people don't know how my parents truly are. I don't have the space for my kids to live with me at the moment. I am living with my grandmother and my current boyfriend, Dean. My mother poisons my children against me.
You put me in a position where I have to tell my kids either they choose you or they choose me.
My mother has bad-mouthed me in front of my kids.
You're embarrassing. You are so embarrassing.
She will call me every name in the book.
You never, ever, ever validated me.
My mom is a very emotionally abusive person.
Oh, why don't you just shut up?
And I truthfully believe that she loves the fact that me and my daughter do not get along at times. She loves it. She will talk to them about how I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict. I've always done drugs and alcohol or pills or whatever it may be for medicinal reasons. I am currently drinking. My biggest problem would definitely be vodka. I drink every morning and I drink every day. I definitely have issues that I'm very well aware of. My mom throws them in my face 100% of the time. I believe I've made a lot of progress in the last few years, and I believe that my mother gives me no credit for it. I want my kids back.
Okay, now you say that Jessica has a history of abusive relationships, drugs, alcohol abuse, all that, right? That's your concern.
Yes.
And so this isn't anything new.
No.
Do you agree that that's your history?
Yes, it most definitely is.
Then what makes you think that you're a fit mother?
I don't believe I'm 100% a fit mother. I have my issues, and that's why I place them with my parents.
Okay, so what
Other
are we
than
here
financial
for?
reasons.
Well, what's your outcome?
My outcome is I definitely need to change, and I need a lot of my drinking history and abusive boyfriends comes from a lot of deep demons that I have in me that I believe stem from my mother and my parents in general.
Well, and listen, I won't argue that. That's totally possible. Do you want your children back?
I do, yes. But I know that there's a lot of things that need to change.
Okay, you said you drink for medicinal purposes. So what you mean by that is you're self-medicating.
Yes.
To calm yourself, to take the edge off of your pain, to what?
Yes, it's for anxiety and to give me the energy. I simply just have no energy. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but when I drink, it also makes me feel better. I don't feel sick. I feel sick a lot.
What are we looking at here?
These are all throughout. I used to drink the pints of vodka, and I would hide them in when I lived with my parents in various places.
This is across what period of time?
All of these bottles? Maybe a month.
Okay. So you currently have physical custody of your children, right?
Yes, I do.
Full custody, too.
Yes.
So technically, you can just get the kids and go home.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've called the police on her how many times in the last year?
Well, in the last year, probably only a couple, but...
Only a couple? Well, why those times? What happened?
Well, because usually she will leave if we're in a battle, or her kids are saying, please don't call the police.
They call the police on me for saying the word.
Well,
because I'm not allowed to cuss in front of children. So that in turn makes me more mad. Then I start really using the word, and then they call the cops, and then my kids are traumatized and they're screaming, don't call the cops on mom, don't call the cops on mom.
I don't like to hear that word, and it's not just because she's using the word, it's because she's out of control.
It's because
she's
you don't
yelling,
want to hear what I'm
she's
saying.
Screaming.
So do you guys have these arguments in front of the children?
We do, we have, but we try not to. So we will, if they get heated, we'll just tell the kids to go upstairs but you know,
well,
I mean, they can hear.
Yeah, well, at least you try, right?
We try.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not right.
Yeah, now you have a significant other?
Yes, I do.
And who is that?
His name is Dean.
Yeah,
He's
so
my boyfriend.
You live with him?
Yes, we live together.
Yeah, so why do Jessica and her 13-year-old daughter have a protection order against this boyfriend? And why is Jessica not obeying it? Because she just said, yeah, we live together, but there's a protection order in place that says they can't be within so many feet of each other. But yet they live together. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Dean and I got into a fight. It got heated and loud, and he went up to my head and literally put his hands on my head and shook my head like this.
My granddaughter woke up.
My daughter was terrified.
Tomorrow, brutally murdered
A 7-year-old is stabbed to death.
by his own grandmother.
He's in the bathroom screaming, but he doesn't want to die.
I kicked the door open. I saw blood everywhere.
But weeks before that,
Do you think she was putting bugs in the bed?
I flipped back the sheets and there was like 75 bugs.
were there signs
She said she was going to rent a hotel room.
Why do you think she was trying to get everybody in a motel room?
To kill us.
That's tomorrow. Then on Friday, she hasn't seen her birth mother in years.
You said, and I quote, Sierra is not my priority.
That's out of context.
Put that in context then. I'd love to hear this.
That's Friday.
I'm pissed off at my mom. My mom was very emotionally abusive to me as a child. On the outside, my parents were wonderful people. They were constantly taking me on vacation. I had anything and everything I wanted. I was a very spoiled child on the outside. But on the inside, no. I felt neglected. I couldn't come to my mom with any problems that I had. As a teenager, I started feeling like there was something wrong with me. And now my mother does not respect me as a parent at all.
Well, Cindy says she's been raising Jessica's children because her daughter chooses men over motherhood. Take a look.
My relationship with Dean has been volatile. It would choke me to the point of nearly unconsciousness. One time, I literally thought I was going to die, and for whatever reason, he let go. Another incident, I threw his phone at him from across the couch and ended up hitting him in the face. He got extremely pissed off at me, and he got up and he just started wailing on me, left, right, left, right. I couldn't see out of my left eye for 2 weeks. About 3 years ago, Dean and I got into a fight. It got heated and loud, and he went up to my head and literally put his hands on my head and shook my head like this.
My granddaughter woke up, and she came out of her room, and she witnessed Dean with his hands around her neck.
My daughter was terrified.
When he saw my granddaughter, he stopped. Then he left the house. Jessica called the police.
He was arrested.
As a result, a restraining order was issued between Dean and Jessica and Dean and my granddaughter.
I did not honor it, no. Did I keep my daughter away from him majority of the time? Yes.
They have ignored that restraining order.
I do forgive him. I plan on staying with him. That video makes me see the picture very differently, probably how you see it right now, and it makes me feel like a complete idiot. But
you're not a complete idiot, but you're making some bad choices, and I'm really puzzled here. I'm really puzzled at both of you. Look, this stuff's just not that hard. I mean, sometimes there are really difficult choices to make, and it's kind of like things are on the line. Do you kind of go this way? Do you kind of go that way? And you could argue both sides. And then there are some things that little Abner could figure out. I mean, they're not close calls.
yeah.
You have a man in your home that's attacking you physically in the presence of your daughter.
Yeah.
Enough so that you call the police, and they issue a restraining order.
Mm-hmm.
And then you violate the restraining order.
Yes.
And continue to have him around you and your daughter.
Well, the time that he was around my daughter was because it was 1 day a week.
Okay, wait a minute. Stop talking.
Okay.
Stop talking, because if I let you keep talking, that's going to be 5 minutes of my life I can't get back. And there's not anything you can say that is going to tell me that's going to cause me to change my position, where you say, he's attacking me, and I got a restraining order, and then I ignored it, and he's still around me on a regular basis and around my daughter on an occasional basis. There's nothing rational about that at all.
Is it not possible for people to change? Because even though the history shows that, you know, especially my history, it's not the greatest, and his history is not the greatest, but I believe that we are trying our best to change now.
Are you trying your best?
I believe so.
You're drinking every day. You're fighting in front of your children. You're calling the police on her because you don't like her vocabulary. You guys are fighting in front of the kids. Is that the best you can do? Then I need to report this to Department of Child and Family Services, because you people are inadequate parents. If that's the best you can do, I'm a mandated reporter. You've just dictated what I'm required to do.
I know.
If that's the best you can do, it's game over. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Is that the best you can do? Are you doing your best?
I'm doing my best, but
Good to know.
my hands are tied
Good to know.
by her.
Okay, good to know. She goes and picks the children up from school, and you know that she's drinking.
So how am I going to tell her that she can't pick up her children?
How about this? You're not picking up the kids, you're drunk. What would be your definition of negligence?
Not taking care of the children.
Failing to protect a child in his or her care from inflicted physical, mental, or sexual injury caused by the acts of another. That's how it is in the code, but listen to my definition of it in general. It's failing to do what a reasonable person would do in the same or similar circumstances. So let's take you out and put a reasonable person what would they do in the same or similar circumstances? And then we put you back in, and if you fail to do what a reasonable person would have done, then you're negligent. That's the general definition. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, like, let's say your daughter is medicating herself with alcohol. She's drinking her blues away. And she goes and picks the children up from school occasionally. And you know that she's drinking. And you occasionally allow that to happen while the children are on your watch. Would a reasonable person allow a drunk to go pick up minor children at school and drive them in the car?
No.
Then that's negligence. Have you done that?
Yes.
That's negligence.
But my grandchildren also know that if she's, okay, are you thinking I'm making an excuse? That if she's really, really drunk, they go to the office and the office tells them that to call the police, and the police will decide if she's able to drive.
Okay,
that's
so
what
we're
they told
leaving
her.
this to the 10 and 13-year-old.
No.
They're the ones making the adult decisions.
All right.
Seriously? Come on. You and I are too old.
So how am I going to tell her that she can't pick up her children?
How about this? You're not picking up the kids, you're drunk.
And you know that's not going to work.
In her defense,
It's not going to work.
I have to
She
say
will
this.
still
I have
do
to say
it.
this. In her defense, I am not an easy person to deal with. I would probably, probably throw a big fit. I would be pissed the
You
hell
do
off.
it in handcuffs. This doesn't take Dr. Phil to figure out that this is putting the children at risk. This is during our field shoot.
That picture right there?
Yes.
So you're drinking vodka again?
Mm-hmm.
This is when she's come to see Dr. Phil to get help. She's drinking during the field shoot. Our camera crew shot this.
But see, she told me that she hasn't been drinking vodka in quite a while.
Oh,
and
well,
that
then
she's
erase
only
that
drinking...
picture.
Okay.
As long as she
I
says she
didn't know,
wasn't.
Because I thought she was just drinking beer.
But that's true. I do go back and forth with it. I just started back up again.
Seriously? What the hell are you people thinking?
Honestly, I don't know what's wrong. You're right. It is very simple black and white things here. I want to stop. I'm at a point. I've been to rehab before, multiple rehabs before. I am at a point now where I'm surrendering. When we first came out here, one of the questions you asked was, why are you medicating with alcohol? I never thought I had a problem with alcohol growing up. I always was a tweaker, I used methamphetamines. I went to rehab thinking, I was very young and naive, and I was thinking I was only a drug addict. So when I got out of rehab, I thought I could still drink. And I hate to say this is telling on myself, but this is the truth, and if I want change, I have to be honest. DCFS, they drug test you every other week, right, randomly, and they did not test me for alcohol.
Yeah, I bet they do now. Well, even though Jessica and her boyfriend, Dean, break their protection order every single day and still live under the same roof, I will abide by the law. So Jessica is going to have to leave the stage temporarily here in order for me to talk to Dean. Because according to the order, the two must stay 100 yards away from each other. And she's got to go out one door and stay 100-yard radius away while we bring him in. Because I do respect the court, even though you don't. We'll be right back.
Jessica has no job. She has very limited income, and she can't support these children without my help. I have given her money, and I fill her car up with gas. I pay for her cell phone bill. I pay for the insurance on the car. On top of it, I pay for the kids. I pay for their food, any clothing, anything that they need for school. I pay for everything. Jessica needs to get a job so she can take care of her children and have a normal life.
Okay, Cindy says she has been the caretaker and provider for Jessica's children for years now. Despite an order of protection, Jessica chooses to live across the street with her boyfriend, Dean, instead of caring for her children. Now, Dean has abused Jessica in front of the children, but says he's a changed man. Take a look.
Jessica and I have had a very violent relationship in the past. We've probably had about 10 physical altercations since we've been together. I've hit her and I've choked her. She's also hit me as well. A lot of times she does instigate it. Sometimes I am just defending myself, and then there's other times that she has pushed me to the point to where I lash out. 2 years ago, Jessica fell asleep on the couch, and she woke up screaming and hollering at me. She thought I had left her on the couch and went to the bedroom. I got up, and I told her there's no reason to fight and argue, and she just kept going, so I put my hands like this on her head and told her, look, I'm not here to argue and fight with you. The 13-year-old came out as I grabbed her head and was telling her, I'm not going to scream and holler at you. I'm not going to fight and argue with you. The 13-year-old was screaming, so I just turned around and I left the house. And that's when they called the cops. I regretted every minute of it. I don't like that I was able to be pushed to that point.
Okay, Dean, we have excused Jessica because she can't be while you're here.
Yes.
But yet, you guys live together.
Yes.
Even though there's an order of protection that you're violating.
Yes, sir.
Every day. What's the point of having the order of protection if y'all ignore it?
We just love each other. We were both supposed to go back to court and get it changed, but never have done it.
Yeah. And so the children are across the street with Cindy.
Yes.
That house isn't 100 yards away from your house, is it?
Probably not,
Well,
but it's
a football field is 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Could you put a football field between the houses?
No.
No.
No, okay. So you're also violating it in regard to the daughter.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So you could go to jail right now. When did you give her these black eyes?
That was when she hit me in the face with the phone. And she was screaming and hollering at me and chucked the phone at me and hit me right here in the face. And then there's one other instance where she hit me in the back of the head with the phone and took off running, and she beat herself up in the bedroom.
So it seems like the wisdom of the court order might be pretty good.
Not so much the court order. I've never wanted that to ever happen. And I've told her. And now I'm just at the point to where, you know what, I'm done. It's not worth it. I'm not going to argue. I will walk out. I get out of the car. There's times we're driving down the street, she starts screaming and hollering. I get out of the car and I tell her, look, it's timeout time.
If Dean really loves Jessica, wouldn't he want to do everything he could to mend the broken bond with her children, over and above everything else? Curious what he says about that after the break.
Jessica routinely drinks and drives. Been many instances where Jessica has picked up the kids from school and she was drunk. I was told by one of the children that they saw their mother say, "Look the other way. I want to show you something out the window." And the kid looked, and then they saw the corner of her eye go like this, and she was drinking out of the vodka bottle. She's going to hurt somebody along with herself and her children.
Well, Dean says that Jessica's biggest demon right now is alcohol. Cindy says it's more than that. She says her daughter would rather live with a man who has been abusive than with her own children. You say you don't punch her anymore. You just say, enough, time out, time out. When was the last time that you had the control to say, time out, not going to do this anymore?
Just yesterday, she found out that her license had expired because she was supposed to go on the 24th to renew her license. And she just started screaming and hollering right there in front of the records. Okay, walked away, and I took off walking, and she's, get back in the car, get back in the car. And
I've seen her do that too. Follow him down the road.
Am I the only one that's not missing the point here? She's driving without a license, and I'm guessing drinking.
Yeah, I'm assuming so as well.
If you can't get along with her, then move on. Go find somebody else. If she's going to be physically, mentally, emotionally abusive with you, then you don't punch her between the eyes, you don't choke her in front of her daughter, you pack your stuff and hit the road. Because this is not working for you. Protect yourself. You say, oh, but I love her. Oh, but I love her. Love somebody else, because this one's going to put you in jail. If you loved her, you would support her being with her children, not breaking the law and being with you. That is selfish on your part. It's selfish on her part. And I wouldn't even be doing this show if it wasn't for those children, because those children need a protector and they need a voice. And you just talked about her picking the kids up at school drunk.
Yeah.
What? Do you not realize that you don't have the right to do that? That is negligent. If she did that with your knowledge and something happened, you could be criminally negligent?
No, I guess I didn't know that, but you don't understand the wrath of Jessica. She's just evil, and she needs help.
You don't understand the wrath of me if you continue to let those kids get in a drunk drive car.
Okay, it won't happen again.
This is not, you're right, this is not going to happen again. And if that means those kids go into foster care, that will happen before dark today.
No, they won't.
No, it's not up to you.
No, I'm saying they will not be in her car. I won't allow it.
If nobody has said to you, and I don't think she has, thank you for stepping up and raising these children, because if it wasn't for you, God knows where they would be. And I don't think you get the gratitude that you should have. Yeah, you have made some bad choices, but 99.99999% of what you have done with those children has been a godsend. Thank you for the sacrifice you have made on those children's behalf. I just wanted to get that said. So don't think I don't get that, okay?
Okay.
I want the other 0.0000001% where you don't let them get in harm's way.
Okay.
I'm going to have to dismiss Dean for a minute here because I want Jessica to return, and I cannot have them both here at one time. I want her to hear how her 13-year-old daughter feels about her mom and Dean. We'll talk about that when we come back. Well, Cindy says Jessica wants her to raise her children until they're 18 and would rather live with a man who is abusive than to be with her own children. Well, we spoke to Jessica's 13-year-old daughter. You take a look.
Since my dad passed away in 2010, it's been really rough. My mom got into drinking, and that's when her addiction started. And it just got really rough from there. Whenever she would get drunk, we don't know how to act because I was so young. So it scared me. When my mom lived at this house, I'd find vodka bottles all around behind the bed, empty them. When I lived with my mom and her boyfriend, Dean, I felt like I had to take care of my brother. I would be the one waking us up in the morning in time for school when my mom was outside smoking with her boyfriend. When we lived together before, he put his hands on her head when they were arguing one time, and I saw that. I got scared for my mom. Since that's happened, I still have worries, but he has cleaned up a little. I can see that he's trying. He apologized to my mom, but he never fully, face-to-face apologized to me. I would live with my grandma and grandpa if I could choose where I would live.
What do you think about what she just said?
I think it makes me very sad, and I know she's being very honest about the whole Dean thing. There's one thing that she says in there that I absolutely disagree with. She felt like she had to take care of her brother because we were outside smoking cigarettes. That is absolutely not true. We had one car, and I had to take him to work. And it's not that I'm picking a man over my children. It's that I wanted for us all to work together. And as you heard my daughter say, she does see a change in him too. And she's not saying that to please me.
Would you like to know what I said to him?
Yes.
You don't ever put your hands on a woman in anger. I don't care why. And what's going to happen here is this is going to blow up. It's going to get volatile. The police are going to get involved. He's going to get arrested. He's going to get convicted. He's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
And if he's got a brain in his head, he will get away from you and away from this relationship until an independent professional tells him that you are stable enough to be around and he has his anger and impulses under control. Because he does not and you are not.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I've had a very candid conversation with your mother, and by the way, I thanked her profusely for stepping up and filling the gap for those children, because if they were not with her, they would be in foster care, and that is a broken system. Robin and I work in that system. Robin, is that a broken system or not?
No one knows how broken it is, and it's very likely those children would be taken and separated and never see each other ever again, never see either one of you. It's just horrible at the thought of where they could end up tonight if taken from either one of you. They could be locked in a closet, put on a floor to sleep, and cry every night wondering where grandma is and wondering where mother is, and why would either one of you do this to them? And say every night, what did I do to deserve this?
I'm willing to help you with this if you're willing to show good faith. And here's what that good faith effort looks like. I'm going to arrange you a therapist.
Okay.
Through Doctor on Demand.
Okay.
Now, Doctor on Demand is a company that actually my son founded, and it is where it's very simple. You download an app on your phone. The app is free, and if you need to see a medical doctor, instead of waiting an average of 21 days, you can be face-to-face with a board-certified licensed physician on your phone or computer in an average of 3.5 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
And we also have psychological services where you can make an appointment and you can see someone on a regular basis to talk about the things that are going on in your life, whether it's anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever is going on. I'm going to arrange for you to have access to that, and I want you to see someone at least weekly through Doctor on Demand.
Okay.
And I want you to find an AA chapter, and I want you to do 30 meetings in 30 days.
Okay.
And if you have a sponsor that at the end of that time tells me you have done 30 meetings in 30 days and you have stayed sober for that period of time, then I will put you in a very sophisticated dual diagnosis treatment center to get this right for you one time in your life so you don't ever have to do it again.
Okay, thank you.
But you're going to have to show me that you're serious about it before I do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Phil. I appreciate it very much.
All right. All right. Now, if you at home want to have your own Doctor on Demand, just go to Google Play Store or iTunes App Store, and you can download the Doctor on Demand app. Coming up, my next guest said she could end up in the emergency room at any time with no warning. Why? Well, we'll find out when we meet her next. Imagine going through life wondering if your heart will suddenly speed up uncontrollably with no warning. Well, my next guest, Melanie, lives with that fear every day. Now, Melanie has a condition called atrial fibrillation, or AFib. At any time, her heart can start racing, and during one episode, it went up to 300 beats per minute. Here's Melanie's story.
Melanie. I was in my home office when I realized something wasn't quite right. My heart skipped a beat, and then it took off racing. I called the doctor, and he said, get to the emergency room. That's when I found out that I had a heart condition called AFib. It's an irregular heartbeat that can lead to strokes. When I'm experiencing AFib, I feel like I'm running a marathon 24 hours a day. My heart condition kept coming back. Sometimes I might just be walking or leaning over. I was afraid to go anywhere by myself. I knew that I couldn't live this nightmare the rest of my life. I felt like I was a stroke walking around waiting to happen. I didn't want to be watching over my shoulder to make sure that the AFib beast doesn't strike again.
Well, Melanie is joining me now along with our very good friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, Chief Patient Officer of Pfizer. So welcome to you both. Glad for you to be here. Thank you. Melanie, when this all started, how often did you have AFib episodes?
Well, over a couple of years, I had about 30 to 40 episodes.
Oh, seriously?
So once to twice a month, typically. And it still is scary because I'm always watching to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Would you have any warning at all before an episode started? And how long did they last?
Well, typically, they just come out of nowhere. And it could be anywhere from a few hours to a whole day.
So, Dr. Frida, tell everybody what exactly is AFib and how dangerous is it? She said she had 30 or 40 of these things in a year.
Atrial fibrillation, or AFib, is the most common heart rhythm problem. It's a condition in which the heart beats too slowly, too fast, or in an irregular way. It can be permanent, as in continuous, or it can be episodic, as Melanie has described. Now, as to the dangers, it can lead to serious health consequences, like heart failure or stroke. In fact, people with AFib have a 5 times greater risk of stroke than those with regular or normal heart rates.
So during an AFib episode, what is actually happening to the heart?
AFib occurs when the electrical signal becomes very rapid and disorganized. And what happens in the heart is these upper chambers contract irregularly as a result of that and are unable to push blood into the lower chambers. That blood then may pool and develop clots. The clots then may travel to the brain and block or limit blood flow and may cause a stroke. So the important thing is Melanie described well some of the symptoms that you may have: palpitations, shortness of breath, tiredness, dizziness, weakness. Now, the scary thing is that there may be no signs at all.
Oh, really?
No, really.
Well, so then who's at risk for developing this?
Age is a major risk factor. About 9% of people 65 and over in the U.S. have AFib, compared to only 2% under 65. Now, there are other risk factors, such as high blood pressure, a history of cardiovascular disease, thyroid problems, diabetes, asthma, sleep apnea, or excessive drinking.
Well, despite having AFib, I know you travel a great deal and live a very active lifestyle. So what's your secret?
So I travel about 50% of the year, and I definitely stay in close contact with my doctors and make sure I never miss any appointments. I also make sure to take care of myself, to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, stay hydrated, and perhaps most importantly, to make sure that I live as stress-free as possible.
If anyone has any of the risk factors that we've talked about, particularly being over 65, what's to do?
So Melanie told us some of the important steps to take, but if you have any of the symptoms that we talked about, and in particular, if you're 65 and older, it's really important to connect with your doctor and have this discussion and make sure that you're paying attention or are aware of your heart health when you go for your regular routine visits.
And obviously another important factor is educating yourself. And one of the best places to do that is gethealthystayhealthy.com.
And of course, while you're there, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter, and all that great information gets sent to you.
I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. And if you're in the LA area and you want to be part of our audience, we'd love to see you. The tickets are free. Just go to drphil.com, click on tickets, and be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to my free podcast, Fill in the Blanks. I have compelling and entertaining conversations with all different kinds of people, experts, celebrities, and you're going to learn things that you don't know about some of these people. And I have an ongoing series called Living by Design. And you'll learn so much about what I like to call your personal truth and how you can get the most out of your life. And that's the first Tuesday of every month. So join me on my podcast at Fill in the Blanks. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.